Think about everything that was supposed to make your life easier. The smartphone, email, instant messaging, video calls, grocery delivery, AI assistants, GPS, cloud storage, streaming everything on demand, online banking, smart appliances, same-day shipping. At some point, someone looked at all of this and said, people are going to have so much free time. That person was wrong. In 1930, John Maynard Keynes published an essay predicting that within 100 years, rising productivity would shrink the working week to around 15 hours. His concern, sincerely, earnestly stated, was boredom. He worried that people would not know what to do with themselves, that leisure, in excess, would become a social problem, that the greatest challenge of the coming century would be teaching people how to fill time they no longer needed to spend working. Keynes was one of the most brilliant economists of the 20th century. He was spectacularly wrong about this. The working week did not collapse to 15 hours. In many professional environments, it expanded. And even where hours technically held steady, work developed a remarkable talent for showing up uninvited, in evenings, in weekends, in the 10 minutes between dinner and sleep. Keynes was right that productivity would rise dramatically. He simply missed what would happen to the time it saved. Here's the mechanism. It is not complicated, which makes it more embarrassing that it keeps working. When a tool makes something faster, the rational response is not to do less of that thing. It is to do more of it. Email is the example that has aged the worst. Email was designed to replace letters, and it did. Letters required thought, effort, a stamp, and several days of built-in waiting time. Those friction points were not bugs. They were, in retrospect, a structural limit on how much correspondence one person could be expected to manage. Email removed all of them. So instead of replacing letters, it became a new and separate category of obligation, one that refills continuously, one that, if left alone for a weekend, greets you Monday morning like it has been waiting. Then came instant messaging, to save us from email. Then team productivity platforms, to organize the messaging. Then AI assistants, to help us respond to everything faster so we can receive more things to respond to. Each tool saved time. Each tool created new expectations. The hours did not disappear. They were quietly promoted into someone else's roadmap. We covered this in episode 1. The short version: the platforms that now occupy most people's non-working hours do not compete for money. They compete for attention, because attention is what they sell to advertisers. This led to a fairly predictable outcome. Once attention became the product, the incentive to maximize how much of it you captured became permanent. Notifications, infinite scroll, autoplay, algorithms that learn what keeps you watching longer than you intended. None of this was designed to harm you. It was designed to hold you. The distinction matters, and also doesn't change the result. Every hour spent in a platform's feed is an hour not spent elsewhere. That arithmetic runs continuously, across millions of people, across years. The cumulative effect on what used to be called free time is not an accident. It is, from the platform's perspective, a success metric. Episode 5 covered this, but one piece belongs here. When housing costs rise faster than incomes, which is what happened across most of the developed world from the 1980s onward, the number of hours required to cover basic costs rises with them. Longer commutes, because affordable housing moved further out. 2 incomes where one used to cover the same ground. Second jobs and side work, not for extras, but for the baseline. The word for this is not ambition. It is arithmetic. People are not busier because they want more things. Many are working more hours than their parents did to afford the same things their parents afforded. The relationship between housing costs and exhaustion is rarely told as a single story. It is the same story. Episode 3 explained why organizations grow more complex over time, even when nobody intends them to. The time version of that problem looks like this. Every new management layer produces meetings to coordinate across it. Every risk reduction initiative produces documentation to prove it happened. Every new collaboration platform produces the expectation of visible, auditable participation on that platform. Nobody designs a company with the goal of making people spend their afternoons on status updates. It accumulates. like sediment. A process gets added here, an approval step there, a weekly sync that nobody is quite sure still needs to happen, but everyone attends because it is in the calendar. The result is that a significant number of knowledge workers now spend more time managing work, scheduling it, reporting on it, aligning around it, than doing it. The actual work moves to evenings. The evenings were supposed to be free. This is not what Keynes had in mind. There is a cultural layer sitting on top of all of this. At some point, roughly the last 3 decades, being busy stopped being a burden and became a credential. Visible overcommitment began to signal importance. A packed calendar suggested demand. The phrase, "I've been absolutely slammed," became the professional world's most reliable way of saying, "I am a person who matters here." The irony is that this made the time shortage easier to bear and harder to question at the same time. If busyness is the mark of a valuable person, the systems that produce busyness are doing you a favor. No one decided this should be the culture. It emerged. Which is, by now, a sentence you will recognize. Nobody planned this. No employer sat down and decided to colonize evenings. No platform intended to hollow out a Sunday afternoon. No housing market targeted leisure specifically. No organization designed itself to make people feel permanently behind. And yet, employers optimized for output and found that time pressure increased it. Platforms optimized for engagement and found that evening hours were available. Housing markets optimized for returns and found that people would pay the difference in commute time. Organizations accumulated coordination and found that it filled whatever hours remained. Culture decided busyness was admirable and made the whole arrangement harder to complain about without sounding lazy. 5 systems, 5 separate incentive structures, 1 outcome. No meeting required. The costs land on many people, dispersed and rarely totaled. The benefits concentrate somewhere more organized. The system persists, not because anyone defends it, but because no single actor has both the incentive and the power to change it. You have seen this before on this channel. The modern world did not steal your time. It found more productive uses for it. Every system that competes for your attention, your output, or your presence found, independently, rationally, without coordinating with the others, that your unstructured hours were worth more to them than to you. Once enough systems reached that conclusion, time became the scarcest resource in the most productive period in human history, which is not a conspiracy, it is a side effect.